Welcome to the More Than Fitness podcast.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Minisode number 110 on the More Than Fitness podcast. Today's Minisode is going to be about one simple tip to eat healthier and exercise more. Don't you guys just love my super clever titles? But I wanted to make this minisode because this was originally an email that I sent out to my email list last week. At the time of recording this, I got a lot of good feedback from that. And I think the message in that email was something that really hit home with me. And so I wanted to put it out there for you guys as well. And it starts with a story of a famous cartoonist by the name of Bill Watterson. And if you're a comic fan, you've definitely heard of him. He was the creator of the Calvin and Hobbes comics. And in 1990, he gave a commencement speech to his alma mater, Kenyon College, and they made a transcript of that entire speech. And I genuinely think it was one of the best things that I've ever read. And what I wanted to do is share kind of my takeaways from that in this minisode. And I think I should start with the story that he told in that speech and what he told to the students of Kenyon College. And he told them how he decided to paint a copy of Michelangelo's creation of Adam from the Sistine Chapel on the ceiling of his dorm room his sophomore year. I'll make this quick, but I wanted to really quote him what he said because I just thought it was amazing. So Watterson says, "My friends and I liked the finished painting so much, in fact, that we decided I should ask permission to do it. As you might expect, the housing director was curious to know why I wanted to paint this elaborate picture on my ceiling a few weeks before school let out. It ended up that I was allowed to paint the picture so long as I painted over it and returned the ceiling to normal at the end of the year. And that's what I did." And so because that's normal for a sophomore in college, right? To want to create or to make the creation of Adam on the ceiling of their dorm room. And while the story is entertaining, what he said next was what really hit me. He said, "Despite the futility of the whole episode, my fondest memories of college are times like these, where things were done out of some inexplicable inner imperative rather than because the work was demanded. Clearly, I had never spent as much time on work or any authorized art project or any poli-sci paper as I spent on this one act of vandalism." Right? So I want to read that again. Just the beginning part. "Despite the futility of the whole episode, my fondest memories of college are times like these where things were done out of some inexplicable inner imperative rather than because the work was demanded." And this really hit home with me because I feel like sometimes, especially recently, I felt very transactional with my experience of life lately. And some examples of how I felt transactional is I go to the gym to gain muscle and to look good. I eat healthy because I want to lose fat. I work hard because I want to make money. So basically, I do X because it will get me Y. That's why I felt transactional. But what I got from listening to Watterson during this commencement speech and what he was explaining on why he created this, beautiful piece of art on his dorm room ceiling, was simply because he wanted to, because he enjoyed it. And he realized that he worked harder on this project than any other work that he was supposed to do or given as an order from, one of his superiors. Like, he worked harder on this than anything else. And I think that the reason why he did that is because he did simply just enjoy doing that thing for the sake of doing it. And what I wrote in my email is I said, what Watterson explains, in my opinion, is that our efforts are typically tied towards what's in it for me. And I think that that's constantly what we can think of, but that line of thinking doesn't always correlate to being happier. It just means that some desire is fulfilled, but then another desire is eventually going to take its place, right? And so to remind myself of how I frame things, I wanted to keep this in mind, and using the examples that I said earlier, instead of saying, oh, I go to the gym to gain muscle and to look good, I want to say, I go to the gym because it clears my head and it's good for my body, right? I eat healthy because I feel more focused and energized once I do. I work hard because my, as he said, quote, inexplicable inner imperative draws me toward it. And I think the lesson here is that the reward is the process itself and not the outcome. And I think this is what happens often, especially with weight loss or fat loss or counting calories and macros or going to the gym. Like we're trying to, we're having a very transactional experience with things like eating nutritious foods for our body, or moving our bodies, or pushing ourselves, or just lifting weights, stretching, et cetera, et cetera. All these things that are inherently good for our bodies, and all, instead of just enjoying these things that feel good, and it feels good to have a nutritious meal because of how you feel afterwards, or it feels good to push ourselves in the gym, not because we want to gain X out of it, but because we just simply enjoy doing that thing. And I think whenever you frame it like this, it takes some of the pressure off and your expectations of what that action will give you. It kind of detaches yourself from the outcome. And it's like, I'm going to eat this salad, not because it's lower in calories, but because I know I'm going to feel good afterwards. I know that I'm going to be a healthier person for it. I know that it's going to help me live longer in the long run, right? Sure, not just that one meal isn't going to do it, but every single decision that you make throughout the day, if you look at it as, oh, what's in it for me? And like, it just creates a very negative and transactional relationship with everything you're doing, instead of doing it for the sake of doing it. And I think that whenever we take away that initial doing it for fun, or doing it for play, or because we know we just feel better whenever we go for a run, or whenever we eat a salad, or whenever we lift weights, and instead of tying it towards some type of external goal or checklist in our head of trying to force ourselves to reach this outcome, I think we can actually make just as good, if not better, progress, while also being in a much healthier shape whenever it comes to our mind. So the mental health side of things aren't as abusive while trying to reach these goals that we're after. And it's like, we're already going after these goals in the first place, so we might as well enjoy the process while we're doing it, instead of having this transactional, oh, I'm just doing this so that I get X, Y, and Z. I think that little shift in my mindset, I think that it's really been helping me come back to that whenever I'm thinking about, okay, I just need to do this, I need to check this box to get this, instead of thinking of it from like a greedy external desire standpoint. It's just like, I want to feel good. I want to feel better after I do this thing. I want to feel prouder of myself. I want to feel healthier as a result of doing this thing. And so hopefully that resonated with you guys as much as it resonated with me. I'll make sure I include the entire transcript of that commencement speech from Bill if you guys want to read that, because it's genuinely one of the best things that I've ever read. And he touches on careers, living a meaningful life. He touches on a lot of other things in that speech that I think a lot of you guys, if you enjoy this podcast or these videos, you will love this speech. So I'll link that in the description. But that is it for Minisode number 110. One simple tip to, what did I say? One simple tip to eat healthier and exercise more. There's the title. All right. Thank you guys, as always, for listening and for watching. See ya.